Hello everyone and welcome to your English lesson for today. So our word of the day is attribute, okay? What do we mean by attribute? A quality or feature regarded as a characteristic of someone or something, okay? Now if you remember yesterday I spoke about how we are going to be today focusing on the skills and attributes, okay? So those characteristics, things that we are that will help us in space, okay? Remember we're trying to convince Dr. Drax that we are the right father to go to space, not Eddie Xanadu. Us, Liam, we are the best one, and we're going to tell her what our skills and attributes are today, and we're going to explain them in a really structured way that's going to make our writing really effective, okay? So a quick reminder of our profile of Dr. Drax, for those of you that are a little bit, might not remember everything from yesterday, okay? Pause here if you need to. These are, remember, we spoke about what we know from Dr. Drax' life and character on the outside, and then inside is how Dr. Drax might be feeling. But I'm not going to go through that today, but by all means, pause through or go back to yesterday's video. This is the person we need to convince and get on side, okay? Good. So, PEE, our learning objective for today is, as a writer, can I utilize the PEE technique to enhance my persuasive writing, okay? So, some of you may have seen PEE already during our guided reading sessions, hopefully. Okay, we have had specific sessions on it. So for those of you that are familiar, fantastic, okay? You're gonna find this pretty easy, I think, but some of us might not have had a chance to do those sessions, and that's okay. We're gonna build from the ground up, okay? And using this technique to structure paragraphs can transform the effectiveness of our writing. And we're going to see that later on when we start writing. But today it's all about getting the three elements in place, ready to go, okay? So point, the P stands for point, and this is going to be the main point of your paragraph, okay? This is what you really want to get across to the reader in the paragraph. That's your point. Your evidence, okay? So E for evidence, you are going to offer evidence to justify your point, okay? It's not just enough to say something. You're going to need to back it up, and we're going to offer evidence to justify the point. And then finally, you have the explanation, okay? It could be explain, it could be explanation, same thing, okay? Explain how the evidence proves your point, okay? So that's the last E, P-E-E, okay? So it's not just enough to offer evidence, you need to then explain how the evidence proves your initial point, okay? So this is really going to come across to the reader that we know exactly what we're talking about and we are confident. And that's so important when we're trying to convince people and be persuasive, because it's not enough just to say, I'm really good at flying planes, okay? You need to be able to back it up with evidence and then explain how that's going to help on the actual mission, okay? If you really want to persuade someone as powerful and intimidating as Dr. Drax, you have to do a brilliant speech. So we're going to work on it. Now, here is a very simple example. Yours will be much better than this, but this is just to get us thinking in the PEE mindset, okay? So here is my point. Liam is very tall for his age, okay? That's my point, okay? Liam is very tall for his age. Perfectly fine sentence. Now, here's my evidence, okay? In fact, he is the tallest boy on the lower school site. Because let's say I said Liam is very tall for his age, you could quite simply easily turn around and say, well, Mr. Messenger, is he? Like, where's your evidence? I'll say, oh, well, in fact, he is the tallest boy on the lower school site, okay? There's my evidence. However, we're not finished yet, because you could, again, it's unlikely, but it's still possible that Liam could be in a school with very few students. He could live in the middle of nowhere and have 5 kids in his school, okay? And in that situation, he actually wouldn't be, just because he's the tallest boy on the lower school side, doesn't mean he's actually tall for his age. So we need to give it a bit more, okay? And this is our explanation. Being the tallest child in a section of the school that contains many students of a similar age, there's a key word there, okay? Let me highlight that for you. Many students of a similar age is strong evidence that he is indeed very tall compared to his peers, okay? This is our explanation. This is proving our point, because we're saying, look, inside a group of people who are his age, and there's lots of them, he is the tallest, okay? So that is really strong evidence proving our point that Liam is very tall for his age, okay? Like I say, a nice simple example, and yours will be much better than that in your real thing, but this is just to get us thinking, okay? Well done. Right. Paragraphs 2 and 3. So you're going to use the PEE technique to structure paragraph 2 and paragraph 3. And the structure will be as follows, okay? So your point, you're going to start your paragraph by outlining the main attribute, okay, characteristic or skill that you want to highlight to Dr. Drax, okay? What is something that's really important that you need Dr. Drax to know about, okay? Now remember, you've only got 2 paragraphs here, okay? And that means you've only got 2 points, so be selective, okay? Your evidence, so you will then provide evidence from your adventures as a taikonaut to justify your point. And these will be taken directly from the book, okay? So you're going to be going from the period where Liam starts the taikonaut training. Remember, Dr. Drax had one of our brilliant ideas, and she was like, oh, you know what? The dads are going to be taikonauts too, okay? So from that point towards the end of chapter 20, okay, that is the period where you're going to take this evidence from. But because that's all Dr. Drax knows, okay? And we're going to stick to that time period. And then your explanation, okay? And this is the most important bit, okay? So you've highlighted your point, okay? You've found out the skill that you want to tell Dr. Drax about. You provided evidence of when you've done that skill or demonstrated that attribute in the book, okay? Now you need to explain, how is this going to help Dr. Drax? This should be what's going through your mind at all times. How is this skill going to help Dr. Drax and be beneficial to the overall success of the mission? So, for example, let's say you're Liam and you're really good at badminton. And you decide to tell Dr. Drax, Dr. Drax, I'm really good at badminton. I have evidence because I won the school competition in badminton. But then you'll get to the explanation and you'll be like, how is this going to help me in space? Okay, and it's realistically unlikely. Okay, you could maybe argue hand-eye coordination, but it's very, very tenuous. Okay, so I would say you need to make sure your point, evidence, and explanation flow. And like I say, the most important bit is that you can justify and explain how that's going to actually benefit the mission. Why is it useful for Dr. Drax? That should be going around your mind at all times. Okay, because remember, she's the one who makes that final decision between you and Eddie Xanadu. You need to convince her that you are the right person to go. So where can I find this evidence? Okay, now to save you time and energy, I will provide the evidence for you. Okay, rather than you having to trawl through hours and hours of me and Mrs. Bird reading the book. Okay, I am going to give you the evidence. Now, by all means, if you want to find your own or you remember something that I haven't mentioned, please put it in. That would be superb. If you have that much knowledge of the book, I will be so impressed. That would be brilliant. But I'm going to give you the evidence, okay? And your job is to decide upon a suitable main point from that piece of evidence and ensure that you can explain the relevance of that point to Dr. Drax, okay? So I'm going to give you a large bit of evidence. You need to have a look, find what point you want to highlight, and then you're going to explain the relevance of that, okay? So you're going to come up with the P and the second E, okay? And you'll also need to decide on the evidence too, because you can't just copy and paste my evidence. You're going to have to summarize it, but I'll explain that in a second, don't worry. So here is, you need to select your PEE from the following 3 chapter summaries. Now remember, you need to do 2, okay? So you need 2 paragraphs, paragraph 2 and 3. Now, for example, chapter 15, I'm going to read this one. I won't read the other ones for the sake of time, but I'm going to read this one just to get you in the mindset, okay? So I've taken this piece of evidence from chapter 15. This is a period of the book where I think Liam shows some attributes and skills that will be beneficial in space, okay? So during the desert challenge, Liam saved the group's life by stopping them from going after the mirage in the desert. Mistakenly thinking that they had seen the possibility building, some team members, including Eddie Xanadu, went off in the wrong direction. Liam saved them by threatening to pull the distress flare, which would have ended the entire mission for everyone. The group came back to Liam and ended up finding it safely later on, okay? So what you need to do is look at this, decide on your point, okay? What skill or attribute can you highlight from this passage, okay? Now, the nice thing about this task is a lot of you will find different things. You'll find different skills and attributes that you want to highlight. What speaks to you will be different, which is brilliant, okay? I can't wait to see your ideas. I'm sure you're gonna have loads of ideas, okay? The evidence, can you summarize what was happening when you displayed this skill or attribute, okay? So you're gonna need to summarize. Now remember, I do not want to see you copying the entire thing, okay? That's going to be far too long. Dr. Drax is going to fall asleep, okay? You need to summarize it, and obviously you're going to need to change the pronoun, so you're talking about what you did as you, because you are Liam. But what I'm saying, to put the pronoun in, but what I'm saying is you need to summarize this. So you've decided on your skill or attribute that you want to choose, then you summarize, okay? And then your last thing you need to do is your explanation. So how will this skill or attribute help you in space? How is this going to help the mission, okay? This is what you need to do. This is your task. Now, there are 3 of these, okay? You notice we'll just fly through. So you've got chapter 19, when they went on the vortex. Let me show you there, the vortex ride. And then you've got chapter 20, when they went on the penultimate flight simulator, okay? And you've got the same task for the 2 of them, but you need to choose, because you'll notice on the plan asks you to do 2 and 3, okay? So you only need to choose 2. The ones that really speak to you and you think are the strongest, go for those, okay? Now, be really clear, okay? Make sure your point is just your point, okay? Remember, we're still doing bullet points. See here, I've put in this handy little thing here to remind you, this is not the real thing. This is still just bullet points, okay? But the skill here is being able to look at that bit of text, work out, right, what is the key skill I demonstrated here as Liam? where is the, how can I, we've got the evidence, but how can I summarize the evidence to be effective and snappy and short, okay, and powerful? And then your explanation, and this is where you're really going to need, you might be able to include some powerful adjectives in the other ones, but your explanation definitely, okay, is going to really hammer home why your skills are going to be so useful in space. And these are your 2 paragraphs to do that. Now, remember, you started off with your initial one, which is all about setting the scene, creating that emotional connection to Dr. Drax, okay, giving her that hook about how much you deserve to be on that mission and how brilliant she is, okay? So she's feeling great right now. She's like, wow, Liam is such a, you know, he's such a born explorer. He's so, you know, he is definitely the right person for this mission, and he's so lovely. And now he's got all these skills too, okay? You've really set her up. You need to now sell it with these two main skills you want to highlight in attributes, okay? So give it a go. I'm not going to go through one because I feel like if I go through one, you will just have mine, because it's, you know, I want you to come up with your own ideas, okay? Because it will be too easy for you just to take mine and use it. But by all means, if you are struggling, please let one of the teachers know and they can chat you through it, okay? Remember, you're going to be using these. Now, on your sheet that I've given you on the Teams, there are these 3 bits of these 3 pages, and then there is the plan, okay? So use the 3 pages, decide what's good attribute you can highlight. Can you summarize what was happening when you displayed the skill, and how was this going to help you in space, okay? Put them in here, and then upload it to, oh, sorry, I just lost my thing, and then upload it to thing, and you're good to go, okay? So, that's great. Best of luck, and I will see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.